40 million people worldwide are infected with HIV, about 2 million new infections every year, and about 1 million deaths every year. It's a severe problem. What's interesting about Sub-Saharan Africa is there more than 60% of the infected are females. So that's quite different from the rest of the world, where it's mostly a male disease. That's why I got very interested in studying HIV in Africa.
To establish a model of the African HIV epidemic, economist Michèle Tertilt and her co-researchers looked at Malawi, a country in which about 11% of the adult population is HIV positive. Because of the rich data set available in the country, they were able to analyze various policy interventions and explore which were the most effective to reduce new infections.
There are a lot of different policies on the table. Male circumcision, treating other STDs, antiretroviral therapy, more condoms, and also information campaigns. What we found is that certain policies may actually backfire. So you have to be quite careful which policies work.
Tertilt's economic model looked at how people change their behavior as a response to policy changes. For example, providing easier access to better condoms may lead people to use more protection. Far from a foolproof approach, however, Tertilt also exposed a high backfire potential.
If people understand that they're less likely to catch the disease, then what will they do? Well, they'll engage in more risky behavior. So they may have more casual sex. One strength of economics is to think about incentives and behavior. What's key in the context of HIV is that when a policy is introduced, people very likely will change their behavior. So economists have a comparative advantage to think about that.
After a peak in HIV rates in the late 1990s, the prevalence of HIV began to fall in Malawi. The Malawian government connected this decrease to the introduction of antiretroviral therapy, but Tertilt found this to be a rather unlikely driver behind the shift.
We find in our simulation that the timing is just wrong, and also we find there's this potential to backfire, at least at low levels of ART. ART is a complex policy. On the one hand, it means a person who's treated is less infectious to others. On the other hand, ART means people live better lives, healthier lives, longer lives. But an infected person may have more time to infect others. Because they live longer, better lives, there's less need to be cautious.
Tertilt found that information campaigns in the early 2000s were the more likely driver of the decrease in the Malawian HIV prevalence rate. Today, knowledge surrounding HIV is at an all-time high in Malawi and many other sub-Saharan African countries. Now, according to Tertilt, the focus needs to be on more widespread and faster treatment efforts.
The introduction of antiretroviral drugs is at pretty high levels now. 50% of if the infected are treated. What we can show is that as soon as enough people are treated, the equilibrium effects dominate again and actually becomes a very useful policy to reduce HIV.